Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Where you come from, where you going, what up, what up? It's Monday morning, and you know what time it is. It's Super PlayStation Bros. I'm joined as always with my super co-host, Doragon. And yes, we're both repping the Doragon merch. What up?
You are such a good friend, man. Like, the fact you went and bought and then are wearing my merch, it's just like, I don't have words. Like, other than this massive idiotic grin on my face.
Second time I've worn this shirt this week.
just gonna cry. Just bear with me. How you doing, brother? It's been a week.
Oh,
what have you been up to?
It has been. I get busy from hour to hour. I try to keep busy, taking the dog out, enjoying time with the wife, but I've been also grinding away at some PlayStation. I got to level 100 in Diablo, so I was able to finally turn that bad boy off. And then I'm like, what do I do with my hands now? I'm like so lost in the abyss. I've been turning on different games, trying to get into it. I just fell back into Sekiro. It's funny enough.
Perfect.
And now I'm going through, because I lost my entire playthrough on Stadia. I had a new game plus. I had all the playthrough. All that's gone. So I'm rehashing out. And the first playthrough is always the most difficult. Oh my god.
Always. Yeah.
I can't knock a masterpiece. It's so fun to play. So good.
We all have those. I kind of want to call them home games, like games we go back to when nothing else is taking our fancy. I did similar to you. I finished Final Fantasy 16 and then I didn't know what to play. And VR took over for a while, just because moving your body, it feels that good. But like, I haven't played anything more traditional, so I totally get that. For me, that sort of fallback is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. But Sekiro is such a good choice for that sort of home game, the place you go when you don't know, you want to play, but you don't know what you want to play, and you go through the motions, and it's all comfortable and homely, and you know what you're doing, where you're going. It's just nice.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Maybe nice is the wrong word for Sekiro, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I took down Lady Butterfly. That was a bit of a challenge. That's really the first check to you in that game, where it's like, oh yeah, these bosses are difficult. And then after that, just going through them. I mean, each boss, you may die one or two times, but the amount of concentration and skill it takes to get through this is amazing. I love it. It's the adrenaline high I chase after beating those bosses. What up, F-Cat? This countdown was harder than mine. Hey, I enjoyed your countdown today. Thanks for sharing your little your Twitter broadcast today, going over the Xbox Series S. Thanks for sharing, F-Cat. But today we are going to be talking PlayStation. That's what we're here for, Super PlayStation Bros. And the first one out of the gate, news story-wise, not the greatest, but we got to talk about it. Sony has delayed several first-party PlayStation games out of the fiscal year. So this comes from, I believe, a shareholders meeting where there was a report that noted a lot of first-party titles were held back from this year. We've heard specifically about Last of Us Part 3, or the multiplayer.
Factions, I think it was more than Part 3, yeah.
Factions, that's what they've told us has been delayed. And on top of what we do know, I'm sure there are other games that we don't know of. Yep,
I would imagine many.
Impact and changes in the launch dates proportion to the first-party titles. So this is what's negatively affecting. This is why we only have one first-party release this year. It's kind of a letdown. My thoughts on the conspiracy side, it was all planned. This was planned for the ABK deal show to make them seem less than.
Less than they are, yeah.
What are your thoughts here? Should we see a extra fully packed next year, or do you think they'll just, filter it out slowly?
I want next year to go hard. We could blame things like COVID, like FCAT saying, we could blame things like the writer's strike, but as far as I'm aware, the writer's strike doesn't affect the video game industry. They are a separate unionization or a separate department or something, because there's been a lot of calls for people who are struggling financially from writers' strikes at, say, Disney, Amazon, Netflix, whatever the case may be. Go and talk to video games and start writing over there. They actually pay you, sort of thing. So I don't know what's going on with that. I do think some of it is, as you say, maybe holding a little bit of quality back for the ABK deal, because they didn't want to seem too strong, too powerful as this incumbent market leader. But I do think some of it's just nature of the beast at the moment. Like, you look at last year, 2022, we got God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West in 2022. Both of them were meant to be 2021 games. They were meant to be in that launch window of the PlayStation 5. But God of War Ragnarok got delayed because Chris Judge blew his knee out and needed surgery, so we didn't have a Kratos on set at any point. And Horizon got delayed because they found they needed more time to squash all of the bugs, and they still launched it with quite a few bugs in. So there are 1,000 different reasons and factors that could be delaying these games. We could go full conspiracy nut, we could go full best case scenario, but whatever happens, it means that we as gamers are only getting the one PlayStation Studios release this year in 2023, and we are now suffering what Xbox gamers suffered in 2022, where they didn't get a single exclusive through the full year. At least we're getting one, but compared to what we're used to on the PlayStation side of things, that is one heck of a content drought.
Yeah, I would agree. It's tough to be Team PlayStation and wave that flag when we've only had one game released this year. Lucky that Baldur's Gate 3 fell into their laps. That's some good marketing business moves for them. But yeah, there was also success of Final Fantasy 16 that sold great for PlayStation. And unfortunately for... I want to say foreclosure. It's not foreclosure. Forspoken. Forspoken was foreclosed, unfortunately. I wish it performed better than it did. I thought the game looked extremely cool. I'm still waiting to jump into it myself.
I managed to pick Forspoken up for £20 on an eBay listing.
Really?
Like, people are selling it on really cheaply. Which makes me glad to have a disc drive, because it gives you that second-hand market that you don't get with digital games. But I haven't jumped into it yet. I think I'm going to enjoy it for the £20 I've paid rather than the £60 it launched at. I think that's more of a region where it's right, the £20 to £30 mark. But you've got to think that these people need to get paid for the work they're putting into these games, and they price the things accordingly. There's been a lot of updates, many new patches and such. I know Digital Foundry have done a few updated videos on how it now runs, and it doesn't fix some things like the cringe audio lines and what have you, but it does fix quite a lot of the performance issues that it was having. So fingers crossed, when I actually get round to it, when I'm in the right headspace for it, it'll be a game that will be completely acceptable and hype for 20 quid.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got DLC along with it as well. There's a lot of things happening in support of Forspoken. However, it seems like they went a different route this year with getting third-party titles for console exclusives instead of first-party titles, which we all know. I feel like that's the real big value when it comes to PlayStation. What up, Cowboy King of Entertainment Network? Oh my goodness.
His name is getting longer week by week.
The C-K-E-N.
He's C-Ken. He's just Ken.
Yes, C-Ken. That's 3 games right there, and Forspoken is still my favorite 2023 game. Also in 2022, Xbox had one timed exclusive game that came out in December, which was High on Life, which
he's correct.
High on Knife is now on PlayStation. So that's 3 games, yes, that we talked about being exclusive, but when it comes to PlayStation first party titles,
PlayStation Studios,
categories. And those are the games, when they come from the first party studios, that I feel have that impact, have that generational change to gaming that locks you in and gets you playing it. So I
100%.
look forward to, and that's the thing. They have such a high bar of expectations they've got to reach with these games. So I feel like that also causes delays. Yeah, this weekend will be live today, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out Cowboy King of Entertainment along with...
If he does not change his intro music to the Ryan Gosling Just Ken song from the Barbie movie, I'm going to be very disappointed in him.
Well, for the sake of news, let's get on to some other things. Maybe a little bit of Rumorsville. We keep talking about it, and that is the next iteration in PlayStation. Will that be this thing right here? Which they're calling... Well, first of all, they say... When I saw the video, they were like, this thing doesn't have a disk drive. I just seen a disk drive right there.
You see,
right? That's a disk drive.
There are 3 or 4 different rumors going around at the moment. So there's the rumor of the PlayStation Pro. There is the rumor of the PlayStation Slim. And there's the rumor of a external disk drive. Now, I thought these were all separate things initially. But what this... If this is legit, because that could have easily been 3D printed. We know how easy it is to 3D print something off, design something and print it off. If you are somebody who owns one of them, like it's dead easy to sort out. But if that's legit, what it looks like is the disk drive portion of it might be removable. So that could be that removable disk drive. So you buy it as, say, a PlayStation 5 Slim digital.
Piece off.
Yeah, say that's a $400 console. You buy the digital, and then you can slide that plate off, but rather than just have the plate connections, it's got a disk drive connection. It's got like a plug-in. So you slide the disk drive on, and suddenly you've got a PS5 disc, and they could sell that for $60 to $80, for example. And it gets people into the ecosystem at a cheaper price, allows them to upgrade to the disc at a later date if they so want, without having to get a whole new console. I hope that's what's going on here, and that this is the revision with those internals that we spoke about last week, which are giving it that minor performance bump, but it's more for the slimming down of everything, the efficiencies side of it. It is ugly as hell, though. I much prefer the original design. It looks so much cleaner. I am really not liking the looks of this, but saying that, I don't like the looks of the Project Q. The difference with Q is I know that ergonomically that'll be fine. There's no ergonomics going on with this. Make it look pretty, PlayStation, please. It can't be that hard.
Yeah, it's curious to me. It makes sense from a take-apart standpoint why you'd have those lines.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're doing behind that, whether this is just a farce or just to gain up, looks and views, but I don't know. I'm waiting to hear the official. To me, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's a tower. It's got white wings on it.
It's a PlayStation Tower. It's meant to be about 5 centimeters shorter than the original and 2 centimeters thinner. How that classifies as a slim, I don't know.
Yeah. You can't have it the same size but shorter. It's not slim. It's the shorter version.
It's feeling more like
Put up
a
Rouster.
console
Thanks for
revision.
stopping by. Have a good day.
Hey, Rouster. Yeah, it's feeling more like a console revision than, say, a Slim or a Pro. It's going to be the PlayStation 5 as we know it, just with a new outer so that you can switch bits in and out.
Yeah. Sort of like a modular PlayStation.
Yeah, and fingers crossed, people like D-Brand and Dark Plates can come up with something to make the externals look that bit prettier.
Yeah. Oh, I got my D-Brand plates too. I installed them. Well, we will. Time will tell, but there's been some leaks, and that is the PS5 leak for that case. Whether it is a Pro Slim or modular unit, time will tell. Wait up for that official announcement. But we did get something somewhat official, I would say, with Project Cronos now hitting different beta users. That's right, the thing that nobody saw coming, cloud gaming, is here.
I did not expect that. Like, I got into this firmware beta. I've not got the Project Cronos beta.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got the firmware beta, and I didn't expect there to be, I think it's around about a 5% selection of people. So 5% of users on this firmware beta have got access to the cloud gaming beta as well. I didn't expect it to come at the same time. When they said they were testing it, I feel like that was 2 months ago in June. And they've gone in 2 months from testing it to putting it in a public test. That is...
Oh, I think that froze Oregon. Well, there we go. He's coming back. Pause for dramatic purpose.
Pause for dramatic effect. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Same one as the other week. I was still connected, could hear you. No idea what happened there. So yeah, as I was saying, it's like this seems to be moving really quick, which means they're either really happy with it, really impressed with the way it's going, and they want to put more stress tests on it to see how it would work in the public, or they're not happy with it and they're seeing if different variations, different variables like public networks and such can shine some light on why they're not happy with it and how it would work. I don't know how it goes. I haven't got inside lines to anybody at Sony or PlayStation. But to see it out there and to see that it can be streamed at full 4K with some ridiculous low latency is phenomenal. This seems like a really big advancement in all cloud gaming. It's taking the fight to NVIDIA's GeForce Now top tier, from what I've read and understood in this article.
It's pretty amazing. First of all, I want to address Cowboy. How do you get into this beta? I know. The only way that I know of is you go to the PlayStation.com and you sign up for their ambassador program or whatever they call it.
It's just a beta program, so it's like anybody from the public can sign up to be part of the firmware betas. When it comes to stuff like this, like the cloud beta, luck of the draw is if your name gets picked out of a hat and you'll get an email about it.
I heard they were picking PS Plus Premium members.
Well, they're the only ones who can access cloud, so yeah, makes sense.
So here's what was explained to me throughout the article. It seems that PlayStation wasn't happy with the cloud technology that was out there on the field. It wasn't working with their SSD. So what they did was they created a brand new technology. It's called a non-transparent bridge. I don't know why they wouldn't just call it a transparent bridge, but it's a non-transparent bridge. And this somehow is able to transfer data at 5 gigabytes a second with a sub 1 millisecond latency.
That's phenomenal.
Just hearing that speed is insanity. insanity. I am eager to give this a try out. This, I think, will revolutionize pushing cloud gaming forward. PlayStation already has one of the biggest library with some of the biggest games, over 800 cloud ready enabled games for the PlayStation library, and some of the biggest titles. So I look forward to having this in my hand, trying out this non-transparent bridge which connects with the memory of multiple systems over the same PCIe fabric. No, I don't know what that means, but if somebody out there is more technically inclined, this is what they're using. The code name is Kura, which is interesting because it just takes me back to Sekiro, because Kura was the character who had the immortal blood.
Yeah, it like you say, it could be game changing if it works as is being outlined here. It's the next gen cloud gaming option, and it will blow the competition out the water because, as you say, it comes with a giant library inclusive of the price, unlike the other top competitor, and it's all just there on the devices you already own. If you're a PlayStation owner, it's on that. If you're a Windows PC owner, it's on that. This could be huge, and let's again not forget that Project Q handheld. That thing's running Android, and it's going to be very easy to stick an Android application onto the Project Q and have this perfect entryway to the PlayStation ecosystem at a much cheaper price that gives people that Switch feeling.
PlayStation Switch. I told everybody it was coming. Get ready for the PlayStation Switch. It's pretty cool to see. I love cloud gaming being pushed forward. I obviously don't want hardware. I don't want to download stuff. If I could just click to play, don't worry about downloads and uploads, this is the way to go. Can't wait till it hits my hands. And if this is what it is, I'd probably get a Project Q just for mobile gameplay. So
it would convince me to get one.
Let's go. Thanks for coming on by. They managed to make the PlayStation look worse, so I apologize to you personally.
Just put it in a cupboard, seriously. Mine sits in a cupboard already. You just need to crack the door when you're playing and make sure you hoover it out once a week so that it doesn't overheat, because it has an actual hoover slot so you can clean them perfectly, properly. Just put it in a cupboard and you'll be fine.
You should have seen. This is why I didn't make a video, because I opened up my PlayStation and it was like not looking great.
Was it grim? Was it grim?
It was grim. It was Mr. Grim from
Oh no.
Metal. Yeah. So I cleaned that out. Put on my DRAM plates. I'm glad I got to get my PlayStation clean. All right, well, the cloud is coming, so keep your eyes open. And before I drop that article, there was something in that article that said a forecasted release date. Now, they said they were going to release it before the end of the fiscal year. That means we are looking forward to PlayStation Cloud Gaming before March 2024. That's what the article was stating.
I would be very surprised if we got the Project Q land without the cloud gaming. I would rather that thing get delayed until the cloud is available to go on it immediately, rather than it launch as just a remote play device, because it will just kill it. The initial impressions will be terrible because all it can do is remote play, and it's a very expensive way of doing that. Whereas if they delay the handheld until that cloud gaming is available and the two come together and work together, it's then actually got a chance of survival.
I agree, because you now have access to the PlayStation ecosystem, especially if you could cast that to a TV or a gaming hub.
Again, it's Android. There's options. There's options.
Give me the specs. Come on, PlayStation. Just drop me the specs. Well, you know who's showing off some awesome stuff? That's THQ Nordic Showcase.
Actual game.
Yes. So this is going to be some awesome software coming our way. Notably, the one that I'm excited for. I mean, lots of people love the South Park
The South Park series is beloved, yeah.
Recreation was something I believe we're all looking forward to. That is the Wreckfest predecessor. Well, looks to be the one that I'm really looking forward to. Come on. This is the only one that matters. I probably won't get to play this through, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Come on. Last Ronin?
The fact they're doing The Last Ronin. Oh,
I'm beyond
my
this game.
Days. I have read The Last Ronin. It released in 2021 as a comic series. And essentially, 3 of the turtles are dead. They're gone. And you've just got one of them left. But he has taken on all of their weaponry, all of their skills as much as he can. He is bitter at the world. And he has to stop one last terrible thing from happening. And it's an emotionally charged, incredibly impactful action comics run. And if they can do it half as well as the comic was done, it'll be a phenomenal game. If they do it as well as the comic was done, it could be game of whatever year it launches.
Now, what style of game do you see it releasing as?
It would have to be action adventure, just from... Again, we're talking adaptations here. Anything that gets adapted from original source material, it can go off the rails. If we look at Netflix's The Witcher, they have absolutely undermined every character in that and destroyed it for longtime fans, either of the games or of the novels. So they could go horrifically with this. They could absolutely destroy it. But if they are honest to the core of it, if they are honest to the characterization that was put over in those comic pages, to the action that was shown, it would have to be a third-person action adventure game. You could maybe throw some of the sort of God of War RPG light mechanics in there, so different bits of gear give you slightly better attack or speed or what have you, or is better with one type of weapon than another type of weapon. Different weapons good against different foes. There's loads of different ways to do it, but as long as you stay honorable to the core of what the Last Ronin story is, you've got a winner on your hands. It's when you start to deviate and do something that doesn't honor what that original story is that you're going to start hitting speed bumps and roadblocks.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll definitely be a third-person action adventure. Hope they stay true to the story that's been told. In addition, come on, I think the one game type that is super popular right now that probably fueled the creation of The Last Ronin. I mean, it has it as titles. I think we're going to get a Souls-like game here. I think there's going to be save points. There's going to be difficult enemies. Swordplay is going to matter. I'd really like to see that. Some difficult bosses. Make Shredder bigger than life with multiple phases. I can't wait, and I look forward to it. My only down with it is why Michelangelo, bro. Come on, you know Raphael would have survived. Michelangelo.
Would he? The evidence says
turtle.
Different. The evidence says different.
Evidence. This is BS. I should have written for Ninja Turtles.
Not entirely sure we'd have got the quality there.
Only gripe with the game is that I gotta wear blue. But
who knows? With the game, you might get to wear any color you want. You might have all of their masks.
Maybe it'll be like Street Fighter, and I can unlock the costumes for the same price as the game.
Yeah, let's not go down that route, shall we?
Yeah, that is
we'll save microtransactions for its own show.
Expensive DLC for Street Fighter 6 I read up on. Oh my goodness. I digress though. New Lords of the Fallen gameplay details high, light, and fluid Souls-like combat and seamless co-op. Out October 13th. I do enjoy the fact that we're getting co-op. This to me is, an Elden Ring clone, but looks very much evolved from that point of view. We have October 13th as a release date. This is the second game in the series, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yeah. So the Lord series has been around for a lot longer than the Soulsborne title, so it sort of was the pioneer, but then they overtook it, sort of thing. It's not my type of game, because I love a strong narrative-driven experience. There's got to be a strong narrative for me, unless it is one of those sort of looter games where the whole thing is just getting stronger. Mountain Man Gaming, hello! So yeah, I'm interested in it because it looks fantastic. I do think I'm going to hit the same pitfalls with this one as I hit with the last one, where it's just not for me. Me and it don't gel. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just a stylistic thing that doesn't work with one another. But it looks, for those who like this sort of game, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, they have something interesting. It's the death mechanic, if I'm not mistaken, is when you die, you get transported to another realm, like the afterlife, and you basically have to fight your way to break out of that to return back to the regular realm to continue your story. So I thought that was an evolution, something I've not seen before, something that was a little bit more exciting to me. It was all with this lamp that you're able to travel through these worlds that are touching.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a phenomenal concept, and like I say, it was a very well made game. The first one was, so I have no doubt that this is going to be a very well made game. It's just what sort of person is it for? And I do think yourself would probably get on with it.
Yeah, a bit more than BG3 as of late. I've been trying to play that game. Unfortunately, I just make all the wrong decisions, and I always end up in fights where I'm not supposed to be fighting. And I can roll the dice just fine. I can talk my way out of situations, but apparently I'm not supposed to talk anyways. I look forward to Lords of the Fallen October 13th. Quake 2, I know there's been a lot of noise about Quake 2 coming to Xbox. The remastered, very cheap price point. Quake 2 gets a remastered and they release it for $10, where Red Dead Redemption gets a port and they release it for $50. It's crazy where we're at. But
Red Dead Redemption is about 60 hours worth of content. Quake 2, it fit on a CD, which was 700 megabytes, that there's a bit of a difference in terms of size. Don't get me wrong, the multiplayer still pulls people back to this day. There is an annual Quake competition. I think it was held over this last weekend, wasn't it? Like QuakeCon or Quake Contest or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, there's an annual contest for Quake, so there's obviously a lot of people still playing it. But yeah, $10 for the size of game, for the content of the game that you're actually getting, that seems totally realistic and absolutely perfect price point. The $60 for Red Dead, still questionable, but understandable for the amount involved.
We have the release of the 1997 game with updated graphics and animations. It still feels like that Doom 64, like it was a game made without twin sticks.
It was a PC shooter. It was mouse and keyboard, and I think it was similar to Doom. I think it was Apple first that it released on. So mechanically, like the underpinnings of these games are different, very different. We didn't properly get a twin stick shooter until Halo, which is 2 or 3 generations of gaming after Quake. So yeah, it's very different originally.
There's a 120F FPS mode for Quake 2 on the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, of course. There's so much overhead to run this. They could probably crack out 240 if they wanted. It's just nobody's got a TV that can do that.
No. Shout out if you got a 240 FPS. Actually, they do sell the 1080p 240 FPS in zone. And I noticed that because I'm looking at the two different models right now, because they got the 4K 120 and they got the 1080 240. So there's two different models, a competitive and sort of like a...
What we have to remember with those, though, is they're not televisions. They don't sit on someone's wall in a living room and beam televised content. You can't get the 6 o'clock news on your in-zone monitor. I suppose you could if you went through one of the apps on your PlayStation or your PC that's plugged into
YouTube.
it. But yeah, they're monitors. So your monitors can go up to your 240. Your TVs, on the other hand, your televisions, most of them stop at 60. It's only those with a HDMI 2.1 that go up to the 120. So it just makes sense for them to cap it at the 120. But there is so much overhead in that console, they could go a lot further.
Well, we have a game from Stadia making a second version. I remember playing Everspace 1 on Stadia and being absolutely lost in the vast size of the game, inventory management, not to mention dogfighting kind of makes me sick visually looking at it. But
understandable,
the second one in the series is coming out August 15th. Have you had any experience with Everspace?
I have had zero experience with Everspace. I didn't know it was a thing, so when I saw that Everspace 2 was coming, I was like, there was a first one? So yeah, my knowledge on this one is it looks pretty. That's as much as I know.
It's a large, vast, open world space flying game. It's heavily unforgiving. I'm pretty sure when you die, you lose your ship. It's been a while since I've played Everspace on Stadia, but look out for it if you're interested. Mid-August, so if I'm not mistaken, it is out tomorrow. So check it out if you're interested. It's a space dogfighting game. Used to be on Stadia, so I wonder if it'll get a cloud iteration.
Distinctly possible. There's a lot of things that... Essentially, the way cloud works, it just needs to be able to run on the core console, as long as they're not doing anything untowards. I don't know how the new version works, but the current version, I don't see why it shouldn't be able to work.
PlayStation Plus game catalog for August, Sea of Stars, and if you're waiting for Sea of Stars, be sure to check it out on the later end of the month, because I believe it has a different release date than when the game catalog goes up live. It comes out at the end of the month.
It's mad, this drop.
Sea of Stars, see, they noted it here, available August 29th.
Yeah, so August 29th, we've got Sea of Stars, so that's a day-and-date release. Moving Out 2 is also a day-and-date release. So we've got 2 day-and-dates going on to PS Plus Extra this month, which is phenomenal. And I know people keep moaning, oh, it's not AAA's, blah, blah, blah. These AA experiences are phenomenal. One of my favorite experiences this year has been Humanity, a AA experience, day and date on PlayStation Plus Extra. One of my favorite experiences last year was Stray, a day and date AA release on PS Plus Extra. We're now getting 2 more options this month. I think this is a really good thing to keep people playing, give them something new. And when you look at what else is in this list, like Last Judgment, The Witch Queen, Destroy All Humans 2, this is a stacked month of games. These are all incredibly high quality.
Witch Queen was critically acclaimed, I believe, like 9.5 out of 10 on most review cycles. Destroy All Humans, which is a THQ or Deep Silver.
I think it's THQ, yeah.
So, I mean, that's been a phenomenally great series, iconic character, who doesn't want to go around and suck the brains out of humans, right? And then Lost Judgment, is that not a AAA game?
That is a AAA title.
Yeah.
It's part of the Yakuza series. Yeah.
Yeah. So, big games on the game catalog. And you know what? You get more games, and it costs me $9.99 a month Canadian to access premium. Okay,
it's £99 a year here in the UK, so it's less than £7 a month for premium.
I mean, It's so cost affordable. I don't understand how Game Pass is doing $18.99. I don't get the clear difference in cost for services. It's crazy to me.
I would expect PS Plus to go up, especially the premium side of things, if we do get
They have
PS5
to.
streaming. But even if it goes up by, say, £10 or £20 a year, it's still cheaper than what Game Pass was before it went up. So I get what you're saying.
How they're keeping this price, because it's beyond crazy to me that the other one is so much more expensive.
I assume it's because things come to it later. There's not a lot of the day and date stuff, and so you've got companies that are like, well, if we sold this at $70 and got this many players, we'd make this much money. So Xbox sort of have to front that, I suppose, on Game Pass, or at least that would be some of the argument they make. I don't understand how these subscription services work. We spoke about it last week, where we both think that they're not a great thing for the industry as a whole, but as a player,
Agreed,
the
yeah.
value that I have had from Extra and Premium is exceptional. I was playing Resistance 3 the other day on the cloud, PlayStation 3 game on my PlayStation 5. It ran perfect. I think it ran better than my PlayStation 3 runs it. Like, I was shocked about how good that was playing.
Hey, I played Twisted Metal last night in the cloud. It ran perfect.
Yeah.
And so some games to look forward to. This one's got
Lawn
my
Mowing
name.
Simulator.
I have to check it out. Source of Madness. I don't know if
It's meant to be very good, yeah. It's meant to be very good.
Dark action roguelite. So I may be checking that one out. It's caught my attention. But cool
I would
lineup of
recommend,
games.
highly recommend Lawn Mowing Simulator. This is the expanded version of it that we're getting this month. We've had the base version of it for a while.
Landmark edition.
It is the most relaxing game ever. It is so satisfying to just mow those beautiful lines in a lawn and then have a customer say you did an excellent job. It sounds stupid. It sounds so ridiculous, but it is so much relaxing fun. It's a game that someone like our dear Cozy Mountain Gaming in the chat would get a lot of playtime and a lot of view time out of. It's phenomenal. It shouldn't be as good as it is, but it really is. It's something my friend put me onto, Happy Ninja Rob, because it was helping him with his anxiety and depression. And so I just sat and played it. No issues like he's got there. And I was just like, wow, I'm relaxed.
VR?
Oh,
Are you
no,
doing
it's
it in
flat
VR?
screen. It's just a flat screen
Okay.
one. Traditional gaming, but it is the king of relaxing games. I highly recommend to everybody for any reason, just for joy, to calm yourself, to get rid of the issues of the day. Lawn Mowing Simulator, guys, way to the future.
Cut your grass. Cut your grass.
Oh yeah.
Well, so I went to a high school called Mow It, and our little tagline would be, "When the grass gets long, mow it." So that's all I have to say on that. Rudigs, are you getting Immortals Avarium? So here's my rant. When I was in Stadia, I was in this basically a prison where the games were far and few between. Now that I'm out in the real world, I've got bail, I'm out there, there's so many games to play. It's ridiculous. And in that, I've sort of made the decision to put all first-person shooters to the side. And
Does it count as a first-person shooter as it's all magic? It's a first-person magic game.
That perspective detaches me. I feel like
How are
it's
you going
made
to
for
cope
VR.
with Starfield then?
Starfield's not on my radar. Armored Core
Okay,
is
fair
on
play.
my radar. Armored
That's
Core
first person.
all the way up in... Armored Core is not first person.
Is it not? Previous ones
No, it's
have
third
been.
person. Yeah, this one is remade from the ground up. This is Armored Core Re-Envision. The same team who made Sekiro within From Software is made Armored Core. This game will play Game of the Year. Game of the Year, right? I'm telling you.
See, for me, first person, as long as it's done well and it's done well within that world, I've got no issues with it. It works really well for RPGs where you are meant to be the character, where you project your sort of thoughts of what that character is upon them. So you're playing as yourself, as an evil version of you, as a good version of you, whatever the case may be. I think it works really well for RPGs of that nature, whether they're with a sword, whether they're with a gun, whether they're with magic or whatever. I think they're great. I love it for action-adventure titles as well, especially where there's precision long-range stuff like bows and arrows or magic as we've got in Immortals of Avium. But there's sometimes it doesn't work. So I get your hesitance, but I would implore you to not write the first-person perspective off permanently, because there are phenomenal experiences out there and coming through the pipeline that you can have from that perspective, and they're not just first-person shooters.
Maybe, but at this time and point, I feel like I just have way more fun from the other perspectives, and I'll keep going down that pipeline. I mean, I'll turn on Destiny here and there and have some fun, of course, but yeah, I'm out in the world now, and I'm playing what I like.
Fair.
Neil J, I'd like to play this one. Same reason I'm tempted to play Power Wash Simulator. Well, it is addicting to clean. I've heard that Power Wash.
It's very addicting. Yeah.
It's
Power
very
Wash,
addicting.
from what I've heard, it's probably better if you can get it on a PC platform, because the mouse washing is easier than a stick on, say, a ROG or a controller or whatever the case may be. Lawn mowing, like whatever input you've got, relaxing as all hell. Go for it.
SPG, what up? Hope you're doing well, good sir. And we got the Playmaker, Ron Slusher, hashtag make plays. What's up? Hey, I posted something on my Twitter, an Xbox or a PlayStation clip of me killing Lady Butterfly, and it was like hashtag make plays. So I'm going with it. I'm taking your hashtag and running. And then
Stolen! Yoink!
Cowboy, I still want to play what's that called? Atlas Fallen, but I don't want to buy it, so I'll have to wait for it to come back on my rental service. Yes, Gamefly. And if you're in Canada, there is no Gamefly. That rental service is not here. And then Armored Core has always been third person. Yeah, it used to be a rail shooter, so you used to be on like rails, I remember. I haven't like jumped too much. Like I played a little bit on the PlayStation when I was a kid, but I don't really remember Armored Core all too much. I look forward to experiencing it again in this new form. Now we have PlayStation top downloads. So we can go over what's the most popular in July. So for the PS5, the most popular in USA and Canada and EU, both Grand Theft Auto 5, a 10-year-old game. Crazy to me. Play something else, people. It's insane. How is that the top downloaded game of July 2023?
You've got to remember, when we come to
Humanity
download lists, it's also about those people re-downloading things. So someone may have had to delete it because they had a glitch or a bug in it, re-download it, and that's counted for a download in that month, even though it's something they've been playing for 10 years on the console.
Right.
They also do keep adding new content in the Grand Theft Auto Online factor of the game, so there's always fresh stuff to be doing over there. And there will be a bit of hate playing in this last month because they've removed a lot of content. So people are going on there to vent and voice their frustrations. So that's probably why that one's up top.
Hate play.
Bit of hate play this time round, yeah. But it's always in the top 10 lists anyway, because there's always new content and it's always popular.
Wow. Yeah, so pretty much the same games across both EU and Canada. We have some sort of variation. Modern Warfare, people want to shoot each other more in US and Canada, and people want to play soccer more in EU. No big.
Why does that
surprise
not
there.
surprise me, unfortunately, on both sides?
But yeah, some cool stuff to look through. I was shocked about Grand Theft Auto. Elden Ring still holding up strong. Hard to believe after a year, a single player. Well, I guess it's co-op game would continue on like that. And then It Takes Two. I guess a lot of people picked it up on the PS Premium for that
Yup.
month. So
I know I did.
yeah, so did I. So did I. Although when I turned it on, I'm like, oh, so you need another person.
Oh
here
yeah,
to
you
play
need
with
two
you.
people to play.
It's not just a choice. So it's pretty much stuck in the water there.
Yeah, get your wife, sit on the sofa, play together, and go through couples therapy with the game.
Yeah, that's not a great way for us to spend time. What's up, Rouster? I'm back for a bit since work isn't too crazy. Was that lawn mowing? I hate lawn mowing in real life. I don't know why anyone would want to play a game to do it.
Rouster?
I know, Rouster.
I am 100% the same, so much so I dug my lawn out and replaced it with wildflowers in real life. But that game is the most relaxing thing on the planet. I highly recommend.
And then Cowboy says, oh my gosh, I can't read it if I do this.
Would you like me to read it? It's perfectly legible for me.
Okay, there you go. You got a bigger screen.
You guys said it though, there aren't many new games, so there are so many old games that people keep playing, and these developers know it, so they keep remaking and remastering older games. Exactly. This is why GTA 5's on that list. This is why they are re-releasing just a direct port of Red Dead Redemption. Same company, by the way. So yeah, if they're kind of making money off the old stuff, why make new stuff? Why cost themselves more money?
And I think since, I'm a co-host on this show, it's officially known as a fact that remakes and remasters are the exact same thing. I'm talking to you, Cowboy. I'm talking to you, Purple. There's no difference in remakes and remasters.
They are not the same thing.
A coat of paint on an old game to resell it.
Are you telling me that
rejig, it's all the same.
Are you telling me that the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is exactly the same as the original games back on the PlayStation 1?
No, I'm saying whether it's called
that is a remake.
Or a remake.
The Insane Trilogy is a remake, but they've got a lot more quality of life modes in there. It's not easier. In fact, I would say the Insane Trilogy is harder than the original games because for some reason they made Crash Bandicoot pill-shaped rather than square. So all of my speedrun strats just deposited me in a ditch. Not a remake. That is a remake. That's not a remaster because what you know from the previous one in a remaster would work perfectly in the updated one. When it doesn't work because they've changed stuff, like with the Resident Evils as well, like the fact that you don't have to stand perfectly still to shoot things anymore, remakes are different, man. Like, quite a lot. This is as bad a take as your mouse and keyboard thing.
No, it is. It doesn't apply. It's not the same hard, fast rule. It changes between studios. Studios define their own remake and remaster by their own rules. There's no hard and fast line, and it's all just one word to make new money.
A remaster is, as you said, a fresh coat of paint. Like the Prince of Persia and Metal Gear Solid games on the PlayStation 3, they were remasters because they were just given a HD makeover. Same textures, same gameplay, same everything. The Last of Us Part 1 was a remake. It not only looked better, it worked on a different engine with many more accessibility settings that weren't available in the original game. Far more quality of life updates. The controls were better and tighter. The feedback was greater. It was remade in the engine of The Last of Us Part 2 to be more up to date.
So a new coat of paint. That's what I'm hearing.
Sticking a new engine in a car is not a new coat of paint, is it?
I just feel like these studios...
Replacing the chassis on that same car is not a new coat of paint, is it?
You can't say a remaster is this by definition because no two studios do a remaster the same way. No two
remasters everybody does it the same way. It's just higher textures, higher fidelity. That's all.
You're just it's a new way to get It's an old game with new paint.
Because Quake is a remaster. It's not a remake. It's just got... I don't get why you want a HD 8 pixels, but that's what it is.
That's what I mean. Some people could say, "Oh, this is a remake," because they're adding.
No, they
in all
can't, because
this
it's the
extra
same game, just with the fresh coat of paint on it.
Right.
They've
This is
not
what I mean.
remade the engine and built everything from the ground up to work what feels similar, but is better. Mostly. Well, again, we come back to that whole Crash Bandicoot pill-shaped thing. That was not better.
I can see some of your points, but I still hold fast to that no two studios follow the same rules. It's crazy to try to define a remaster versus a remake, because nobody does it the same. And then people even call it something different, like a reimagining or something along the lines of that. Or whatever Resident Evil does, they add DLC whenever they remake something. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to follow. I wish there was hard and fast rules, for sure.
Fair play. I get where you're coming from, but I do think I put a good description out there of what each is.
Sure, but I'm not willing to die on this argument. I will keep arguing this because I believe that either come out with hard and fast rules that this is what defines a remake and a remaster, or it's just a new coat of paint for money for me.
I think chat's on my side, mate. So yeah, you're very lonely over on that hill.
I'm not talking to my people, that's for sure. Purple and Cowboy are both against me on this one. What this originated, though, Dorgon, I will say, because I still remember the first argument, as I'm trying to stall because my computer is just circling right now. And I'll ask you this question, Dorgon. Should a remaster or a remake be qualified for Game of the Year?
A remake, yes. A remaster, no.
No, it shouldn't. It should be released on the date that the game was made. That's when the idea was released. That's when the IP was released. You can't just give it a new coat of paint and say, oh, it won this year.
As you said with the Resident Evils, though, we look at Resident Evil 4 this year. There was additional content in there, huge quality of life updates, massive engine upgrades. Like the original is a clunky mess in comparison. It was a new build game. They put as much work into Resident Evil 4 this time around as they put into it last time around, maybe even more. So yes, those people deserve to have their work recognized. They have built an entire game. They deserve to be up for the chance of Game of the Year. Whether they win it or not, that's a completely different matter. But they deserve that chance.
Can't win Game of the Year. What you're describing is DLC. And DLC to an old game cannot win Game of the Year. That's like if I just remastered Sekiro, I add a new boss in, it should win Game of the Year. Like it's just, you could keep doing that over. Add DLC to Elden Ring with Shadow of the Erdtree. Is that going to win Game of the Year again? Like,
quite likely, yes, it will.
But I realized I have 3 minutes left. So as much
Let's
as
go
I'd love
quick.
to keep Bungie's names a commander for Zavala. Zavala is unfortunately, so all the Zavala's lines are staying within the game. They're going to immortalize that. Lance Reddick's lines will not change. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are 100% correct. Lance Reddick unfortunately passed earlier this year at the unfortunately not that old age of 60. And the Destiny community were absolutely devastated because he is our captain commander. And most of us thought that he couldn't be replaced, that Zavala would either become completely mute, that they would chop and change lines that he'd recorded and use a bit of auto-tune to make them work moving forward. But what they've decided to do, I think, is probably one of the better options, is they've taken someone who is completely irreplaceable and honoured him and said, moving forward, you're going to get a newer version of Zavala, like what we can do in the world that we live in. Zavala's core to the story. We need him there. So you've got the Arbiter from Halo becoming our captain commander. And I do not think there has been a single negative word from anybody anywhere in the community about this casting, because the job he has done in every other job that he's had has been phenomenal, and I am looking forward to his first lines as Zavala.
Yeah, absolutely. So Keith David is reprising the role. You may know him from the President in Rick and Morty, as well as Dorgon saying the Arbiter from Halo, as well as many, many other roles. He's a decorated actor, so look forward to that switch up there, and a big change in the Bungie universe, that's for sure. Well, that is all the time that we have this week. I've got to run off a bit quicker because I have some things I got to get to. So, again, I appreciate everyone for coming on by, hanging out with us as we talk some PlayStation this week. Dorgon, thanks for hanging out. We will catch
Always
you
a pleasure.
Next week at the same time. Be sure to check out Super PlayStation Bros. If you're new, be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Rue Diggs, that's my channel. Dorgon over there is his channel.
10 away from 1,000. I need 10 subscribers. Help me.
10 away. So you heard it. If you're new to listening to this, drop down in the description. Give Dorgon a sub over there. Any last words to say before I roll the credits?
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. I never thought we'd get this far with it. So thank you, everybody, for turning up every single week. I love doing this show, and I really want to keep doing it. So please keep turning up.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, we will catch you next week. Until then, be kind and bring peace into the world.
Later, all.
Try to believe in me. Why try, do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind's so easy.